What's up, fellow Vanguard nerds? I'm Babblerab, and right here we got the Ace Attorney playmat. So a friend got this for me from DIVAS. He said, yeah, there's an Ace Attorney desk mat here, and I'm like, oh my god, buy it for me. I'll pay you back. He's like, okay. So now I got it. It's a Justice for All playmat, which, desk mat, who cares? It's a playmat. Anyway, to the actual important part of the video, we got the corals. Like the updated, long overdue, because I've been doing other stuff. So, yeah. This deck is about as absurd as everyone's saying it is. The new coral changes so much about the deck. I was a little bit, I didn't believe everything that everyone was saying. Was like, oh my god, the new grade 3 pretty much changes the entire deck. No, it changes the entire deck. It's that solid of a card. There's a few other cards that are really good as well that I've added, but more or less it's the exact same build minus the new coral grade 3, so I will talk about that. And other than that, let's just jump straight into it. So, we've actually cut Akari. This works quite well as a starter because you can just decide, hey, I'm just going to leave in Soul even if you don't ride a coral grid 1. So if you don't ride Fresh Star Coral, I believe. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you don't ride Fresh Star Coral on top, you can just say, okay, I'm just going to leave you in Soul, and that's one coral in Soul to fulfill your condition. So it's just more corals, and you're guaranteed to have one in Soul coming into first stride. So yeah, Akari was okay back in the older build, but this actually tests really well. So yeah. Then trigger lineup is 4 heals. Just play the what's her face? Shushu Melina. I've got more coming, so I will probably sub those out for that in this deck. You could also play Sandy, but I think Melina is the best choice since this deck is, or since pretty much every deck counterblasts, so whatever. 4 of in every single Bermuda deck, period. I don't care what you say. The new Shushu crit, which soul charges do counter charge 1. Kind of really good. Play 4. And then 4 of the coral crit. Go figure. She's kind of really good. Pitch her from your soul or hand, I believe. Yeah, hand or soul, put her into drop zone. Check top 5, add a coral to hand or soul. So that's really good, and importantly, it's a little bit more reliable than using, what's her name, Lyrica, I believe? Yeah. So there's that, but Lyrica can be reused. She's still really good, though. And then 4 Dreamer Crook. This is absolutely mandatory in the deck. I probably will just sub this out for like all double rares and then put this mess of triggers into my Pacifica deck if I run that again. But yeah, this is absolutely mandatory in the deck because of how grade 3 coral works. Unboosted stuff can be sitting at like 20 or 30k by itself. So multi-attacking becomes super good in this deck. Like I've had plays where I've gone Speak Up plus Crook in Harmony, and then you get like 2 extra attacks. It's just ridiculous. Like you can literally toss anything on the board, and if you have like 8 or so corals in Soul, they'll be swinging for colossal numbers. So I would say absolutely mandatory. Any extra ways you can, any extra cards you can find to give you multi-attacks, and this is definitely one of them. That's it for trigger lineup. 8 crit 4 stand, very aggressive build because you don't care too much about hand advantage thanks to the new Aurora Star Coral. So we're playing 2 fresh. Never really needed more than 2 fresh. She doesn't do a whole lot at all. So that's really all there is to say about that. You're going to just be fetching her and throwing her into Soul as opposed to actually using her.
Okay, so Passmate does not actually know what he's talking about as per usual, so I've got to step in and once again correct him. So, the idea here is that you do not actually want to be sitting on Shangri-La Star Coral. You want to be sitting on new Aurora Star Coral. Therefore, you want to be increasing the odds of seeing Aurora Star Coral. Lyrica does not help with this. Fresh Star Coral does help with this. Should be pretty obvious that I'm going to be taking Fresh Star Coral, bumping it up to at least 3. Going with 3 Lyrica, 3 Fresh Star Coral. This is subject to change to going to 4 Fresh Star Coral and 2 Lyrica. The thing is that both are actually fetchable from the deck, so it may come down to just running 2 Lyrica instead of 4, which means 4 Fresh Star Coral will be useful, considering it will help me see Aurora Star Coral much easier. Back to you, past Babblerab.
And then 3 Shandi, because you kind of don't want to be using your Shangri-La Star Corals or your Aurora Star Corals as strides. You want to have alternative means to strides, so you get to throw those cards in Soul instead, and this helps with first stride and just the increased chances of getting that off. I don't think I really need to explain too much about the stride enabler. Like if you're using G units, you're probably running stride enabler just because it's convenient. Still running 4 Lyrica. I like Lyrica a lot because early game just allows you to dig for cards that you may need, and most importantly, in the early game, you will most likely have not gone into any fresh or shiny Star Coral, so you still have all those targets sitting in your deck to use. Plus, you can just toss her into Soul and say, okay, I'm going to just abuse her effect like 6 or 7 times in turn. It's really nice. For PG, just use the Unflipper. I've got a very small amount of Unflippers. I think I've only got like 2 or so playsets, but that's, if you're just playing this deck, like, and it's your only Bermuda deck, you'll probably have the Unflippers, but as a guy who's got like 6 or 7 Bermuda decks, I don't exactly have 6 or 7 unflipping PGs, and I don't really want to spend the money on 6 or 7 unflipping PGs. So yeah, we're just running the good old Ellie, but yeah, definitely run the Unflipper in this deck if you want, because you get to countercharge more stuff. Then we go to grade 2s. 4 shiny Star Coral. The reason why you run 4 is because she's actually useful if you can ride her when you're on grade 2. Doesn't do a whole lot on rearguard. Actually, doesn't do anything on rearguard. Smart. But yeah, so you ride her, or you run her because she does do stuff, and you do need enough targets for what's her face, Lyrica, to be live. So yeah, and because fresh Star Coral is kind of you run 4 shiny. And then 3 Speaker. So yeah, again with the Crook thing, just the multi-attacking, and this deck just makes multi-attacking with unboosted stuff absurd. Because that passive on Aurora is stupid. And I mean that in a good way, of course. This card's amazing. I'll have to read what it does. I've used it before, but I don't remember the effect. So you choose a card with Coral in name from rearguard or hand and put it into your Soul. When it's placed on Vanguard or rearguard, you draw a card after paying that cost. And then in Soul, you can go and throw it into your drop zone to draw a card. So lots of draw power in the deck. Or with this card, it's really, really nice. So yeah, run 3 because I like seeing her. Again, just more ability for the deck to dig, which is nice. And then just down to 2 Lyrica, or 2 Lorana, sorry, because she's not as important as in the deck as she once was. And you can fetch her from your deck with, what's her name? Arcadia Star Coral anyway, so it's not a huge loss if you're not playing a huge amount, because all of this can be searched. Like, Arcadia literally can just take any card from your deck and toss it into your Soul, so you can pretty much toolbox whatever you need. So the grade 3s are new Aurora Star Coral. Let's talk about this card. So, if the number of cards in... Okay, I can talk, I swear. If the number of cards in your Soul with Coral in the name is 4 or more, she becomes a 13k base, which means you're harder to get attacked and get killed by. Then you choose a card from hand, put it into Soul when it's placed on the Vanguard circle, or when your unit with Coral in its name strides. You may pay the cost. If you do, you draw 2 cards, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets the effect. All units in your front row get 5k for every 2 cards with Coral in your Soul. You will frequently have at least 8 or so Corals in your Soul by the end of the game. I think I've had up to 10. So yeah, you're going to be getting 20-25k boosts from everything. And again, if you're just swinging with like an unboosted 4k attacker, that's still 29k to your opponent's Vanguard. And the multi-attacking potential in this deck is absurd. So yeah, like 6 or so attacks that are small numbers is whatever. 6 or so attacks that are like 20k plus is like, oh, that's a bit of a problem. So yeah, really, really good card. I definitely see now how people say that like this card pretty much single-handedly went from making the deck to making the deck, oh my god, it's bonkers. You're pretty much gonna shed single manly tears, or if you're not a man's, then you're gonna just shed whatever kind of tears you shed. Maybe you shed Apache attack helicopter tears, I don't know. Can they cry? Who cares? But yeah, you always want to see this in your Vanguard circle. Like, mandatory. Like, do it. Do it!
Do it! Do it.
Me in the future is probably going to put like a Shia meme there, just saying do it, or a Palpatine meme. Okay, and then this is primarily just for another target because you don't really want to see her on Vanguard anymore. Shangri-La. Woo! G-Zone time. So, to Arcadia. I think this is primarily just in case I run into a situation where nothing else is practical after I've strode the first one. This is usually your first stride, go figure. And she's going to hit absurd numbers with new Aurora Star Coral. But I think the second one is just in case you have a situation where it's like, I need this one card in my Soul, and I have no way to actually get to it easily. So I think that's why I'm running 2. You don't want to run more than 2. 2 might even be pushing it every now and then, but that's the number I'm running, just for that little failsafe, I guess. She's a mandatory 4 of Frontier Star Coral. Really good card. Usually you should be able to close games with her before like having to go into anything else, but there are other options in this deck after you burn through all your Frontiers. Normally you shouldn't need to, because her power boost combined with Aurora's power boost should be swinging for colossal numbers, plus she enables you to do multi-attacking even if you don't have Spica and Crook, and if you do, you're going to get even more multi-attacking, like I think, what, 1, 2, 3, bounce, 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 big freaking number. Call 2, does it have to be the same column? Column to separate rear guard, so you probably would go bounce, 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 leave something there to bounce with Spica, and then Spica, Crook, and then she swings, you get your triple drive, who cares? Swing this combo here, Spica, bounce, call to here. Big freaking number because of Aurora. Crook, back to the deck, bounce Spica, call something else, you have 2 more attacks, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks. And if you have another Crook, you can put it here. 5, 4, 5, possibly 6. I don't know. But yeah, and don't forget, those attacks are all going to be upwards of like 25k in most cases too. So, kind of good. And then, because it's kind of the simplest way to do stuff, you just run 4 of the Tutoa Stride. 3 of the Tutoa Stride. It's finally like what Bermudas have been needing for, not needing forever, but really nice to have, just a generic restanding Stride unit, kind of like how Tachis have Gluttony Dogma and such. But yeah, this card should be able to seal games before you need to actually go into other alternatives, so yee. And she's ridiculous by herself as well. And the one Ange, because, you know, Link Joker exists. And to an extent it also means that you can use this, or her, for fodder for that. So that's good. But yeah, the Ange is Ange. That's all there is to really say. And then, because why the heck not, run the one Megado-chan. I mean, I have it, so heck with it, might as well run it. And, you know, the thing is that, like, I've been talking up a big storm about how, like, oh, Megado-chan's probably, like, or Megado is probably, like, one of the best Aeroth Dragons because you can just use it to recover from gameplay. I'll find that I'm, like, having situations where I would just be looking at the card going, I don't know if I can actually win with this. So I just stare at it and then go into, like, her or something. Her. If I can grab the card properly. Like, Tutoa instead. Like, you should probably only go into this if you're in trouble and you need to, like, try, if you're gonna be losing next turn anyway, or if you're pretty much, or if you need to just, like, win. But it's not just something you can just go into and say, lol, I'm good at this game, because you will probably not succeed. To an extent, I think this deck can get away with, Corals can get away with, like, running and messing up with Megado, because they're still not completely GB reliant, but you lose your access to your big power boosts and your Spica, so your deck kind of just shuts off. Or most of its power shuts off anyway. And then Ellie, because you can keep flipping her face down and you will probably hit your PGs. Like, the card is kind of like, if your deck doesn't have a way to really dig for PGs, she's not that consistently good, but if you get lucky and you see a bunch of PGs over the course of the game, she's insane. Probably should think about running more than one. So maybe cut Leona and run 2, because then if you have 2, you can get the 10k boost from her. But she's actually really good if you have the right stuff in the deck. I don't know what to say about that. And then Citron is just so that you can, like, if you want, you can call, like, a Lyrica from your hand and then get the little bonus. Yay. And then just run double Sandy, because Sandy's still really good because you build a big hand and they make people sad because they can't hit you. So yeah, that was the Corals. Over the bit of testing I've done with the deck so far, it's a lot of fun to play. Like, the size of the columns this deck can hit are just absurd. I will definitely, if I can, try to get some card fight videos with this deck because it's ridiculous. Like I said, with that short little combo thing I showed, was like swing like 6 attacks, and then if you have like 7 or 8 or so Corals in Soul, so you would get like, for every 2 in Soul, so you get like 20k boost to everything, and then assuming it's unboosted, like, again, this would be swinging for 24 on its own, this would be 31 on its own. It's pretty nuts. But yeah, a lot of fun deck to play. Highly recommend if anyone's looking to get into Bermuda Triangles. Like, this would definitely be one to give a try. But then again, I kind of like almost all the Bermuda decks, so really I'm not the one to talk about it. But yeah, a lot of fun to play. Really happy that I updated the deck, and I will talk to you guys in whatever the next video is. Probably Ange or something. Also, Shushu is coming. I'm just waiting for 2 cards to come in the mail to finish up the deck. And you guys are probably going to be like, oh my god, what the heck, Babblerab, as soon as you see what the 2 cards are. Don't question me, I'm smart, I swear.